so many times. Okay, let's get started with the episode. That was a long little story, but Post Malone is I don't know if rapper's the right term, but Post Malone is a musician. He's not my cup of tea. I like rap. I like older rap. I like 89, 88 to like 2003. That's my thing of rap. And rap's the thing I'm most grumpy old man about. Like, oh, those kids, you can't hear them nowadays. I think that came across in my episodes about XXXTentacion. I don't like new rap. Post Malone's more of like a Drake where he sings a bit. But anyway, so he's actually a very, very successful musician. And he seems to be a fan of the paranormal. He's been on the show Ghost Adventurers. I listened to some of his music while I was prepping this episode, and I was just like, he's not my cup of tea, but I as I was listening to it, I was like, I can understand why people enjoy this music. It's just not for me. Anyway, so quick recap. In the past maybe month and a half, he's had a spate of bad luck. He was on his private jet, and the plane takes off, and the landing gear tire malfunctions. I believe it blows out or something like that. And the plane's like, we kind of need that to, land and not blow up. So plane circles a bit and then lands, I believe, at that same airport. And, the fans are like, oh my God. And Post Malone's like, listen, thanks for your prayers. I'm fine. It was scary. And then a couple weeks later, maybe a week or two later, he gets in a car accident. And people are like, well, that's a weird coincidence. And he's like, yeah, I'm a little shaken up, but, I'm okay. And then a couple weeks after that, some armed gunmen broke into a house he used to live at, and they stole a bunch of money, and they were looking for him. Apparently, there were people there. That story's still a little, shaky. I'm having a hard time finding a ton of detail on that. These armed gunmen go into a house where he used to live, and they rob the place. So at this point, people are wondering, is something going on with Post Malone? I actually read, because I read that celebrity gossip stuff, the first thing I saw was that Post Malone had slept with a girl, but the girl's grandfather was the head of some cartel in South America, and he took her virginity, which, you're a musician, that's kind of par for the course, but the granddaughter's grandfather was the head of some South American cartel, and he was trying to kill Post Malone. And I thought, well, that could explain the home invasion, but how do you blow a tire off of a plane? I mean, there's more efficient ways. Just blow the plane up. Or just shoot him in the middle of a day. I mean, he's a rapper. People assume that they're going to get shot. So I read that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then a couple days later, I read this news article, and it's kind of been flown around the internet. So like I said, Post Malone's interested in the paranormal, and he's been on that show, Ghost Adventurers. Well, the host of Ghost Adventurers has a museum dedicated to weird and spooky stuff. And he has the Dibbuk Box. This Zach Baggins, he's the guy from Ghost Adventurers. He has the Dibbuk Box. What's the Dibbuk Box, you ask? It's a cursed wine cabinet. This was sold on eBay quite a few years back. So the history of the Dibbuk Box, it's a wine cabinet, and I'm going to give you a brief history. It's a wine cabinet that contained a couple pennies and a couple locks of hair and a little note that said shalom. And it came over from Poland, around the time of the Holocaust. This Jewish woman, Dybbuk is a Jewish spirit. This Jewish woman takes it when she flees. She takes the box. She didn't want to leave it there, but she's like, don't ever open it. Apparently it's haunted. It's actually it came to attention because a guy bought it, and he was immediately like, all the bulbs started going out in my house. I had this strong smell of cat urine. I don't have a cat. He sells it on eBay, and he goes, this box is haunted. I gave it to my mom. The day I gave it to her, she had a stroke. And when I was talking to her in the hospital, she wrote a note. She couldn't speak, but she wrote a note and said, hate gift. And so at this point, he's had enough weird stuff. He sells it on eBay. Another person who bought it on eBay starts to experience weird stuff. Where we're at now is that the Dibbuk Box was then bought by a guy, and then he gave it to the host of Ghost Adventurers. And there's a video of the host of Ghost Adventurers opening the box, and Post Malone, who was on that episode, touches the guy's shoulder, Zach's shoulder, and then they both leave the room. And after all this bad luck, Zach goes, I think he's being haunted by the ghost. I think he's got this ghost on him. Oh, and the Dibbuk is a ghost from Jewish folklore. Is it possible that Post Malone is being haunted by a ghost that's causing all this stuff? I mean, I guess it's possible. So here's the thing. I believe in ghosts. I don't believe every ghost story ever, but I do believe in ghosts. I do believe in cursed objects and items and things like that. I believe in demons and so on and so forth. Again, I have my skeptic side of it. When I was researching this, I was approaching it from a skeptic side, and I think I'm kind of meeting in the middle. One, these events actually have happened to Post Malone, and luckily he's safe, I hope. No ill will on him. I hope he continues to be successful and happy and all of that. Be possible that this ghost is causing this stuff. I guess. Could it just be a series of 3 really random events happening to somebody that's in the public eye? Yeah, absolutely. But imagine, let's table this skepticism for a moment. If this box has this Dybbuk in it, and it's this efficient, well, don't you think the government would get involved? Like, don't you think it wouldn't be passed around from collector to collector? If there was an object, see, and that's the thing, when I say I believe in cursed objects and stuff like that, I think they either reside in one of 2 places, or 3 places. 1, they're undiscovered somewhere. 2, they're being passed around unknowingly from person to person, or 3, they're in somebody's very, very secure hands. Because if this Dybbuk box was able to be opened and a evil spirit would come out and mess with you, if I was a South American cartel, I'd buy that. If I was the U.S. government, I'd get that. Because it'd be the ultimate weapon. I think that, imagine if the U.S. government has a laboratory where they take all of these weird items. They see the story online. You have people just researching this stuff all the time, and they read in all this creepypasta, no big deal. But once they're like, oh no, this box actually, we can account for these diseases and these strokes and these accidents, the U.S. government would take it. Because it's a weapon at that point. It's an uncontained nuclear bomb. I wouldn't be shocked if at some point there's storehouses of this stuff. I know there was that show Warehouse 13 on Sci-Fi Channel. I never watched it, but you know what I mean? Like governments or assassins or like high-level people they're like, yeah, look, this is this amulet. If you wear it, you die within 3 days. There's only one in the world. People would be like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? You want to put it on? No, I don't want to put it on. You just told me I'd die in 3 days. Yeah, but you don't believe it, right? Well, yeah. They would contain this stuff. Not for a good reason, not to be like, we have to keep these safe. No, it would be like, we need to figure out can we mass produce this box? Can we ship one of these boxes over to Iran and give it to a mullah? So I don't know. I think cursed items are real. I don't necessarily know that the Dybbuk box is real. The stories sound real, but again, right now they're just kind of stories that you see online and stuff like that. The owners have said, no, this stuff's happened to me. And I'm not going to go to that dude and be like, dude, prove to me your mom had a stroke. I want to know the truth. That's pretty douchey. But if I had a ton of money, I'd buy it and then try to figure out how to reproduce it or how to use it to take somebody out. Somebody that I didn't like. I'd be like, here you go. I'm not going to say her name, but here you go. Open this up. That's cold-hearted. I shouldn't have made that joke. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.